And prayers of Queen Kunti, maybe we've mentioned already a little bit, were so important to Srila Prabhupada that when he was struggling in America, he had no following, and financially it was very, very difficult for him. And suddenly he went to the shop and he purchased a tape recorder, which was very expensive. That the cost of it was equal to 4 months rent. And when Srila Prabhupada came home, the very first thing he recorded was prayers by Queen Kunti. Historically, the very first thing he ever recorded in America, and at all, because in India he was not using, of course, tape recorders. And he accompanied himself playing karatals and chanted all the prayers of Queen Kunti, which come in the 8th chapter, starting from text 18. And yeah, he accompanied himself playing karatals. And you can see that he chanted those Sanskrit prayers with great feelings. And actually, historically, he never recorded any other part of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sanskrit. Bhagavad Gita, he recorded practically the entire Bhagavad Gita. He was quite often chanting verses from Bhagavad Gita. But this was unique chanting. Prayers of Queen Kunti. And he chanted those prayers quite regularly. And when he was in a life and death kind of situation, little later with his heart, when he had to be taken to hospital, he requested Brahmananda to chant for him prayers of Queen Kunti. And later on in India, when again it was life and death threatening situation, he again requested same Brahmananda to chant prayers of Queen Kunti for him. So this is a very clear indication how powerful and how special these prayers are. And that's why Prabhupada gave so much attention to those prayers. And actually, anyone who reads them can immediately understand how much these prayers are in line with whatever Srila Prabhupada had to go through. Anyway, I was thinking that what we could do, just to have a clear overview, I could read all these prayers so that you would have a clear idea by Prabhupada also attached to them. All right, so let's chant the invocational mantras first. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramiritam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanyamanovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakalam Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanepyo Vaishnavepyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Utai Mahaprema Rovitnyama Chaturang Shusha Bhunkagana Sudasa Sudasa Pakalan Krishish Bhagavan Vacham Sive Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Prayers of Queen Kunti, starting from text 18. Kunti Vacha Namasye Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param Alakshyam Sarabhutanam Antarbahir Avastitam. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. Maya javani kachanam agyadagracham avyayam nalakshase mudhadrisha tonachadro yatha. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain. Of eluding energy, you are invisible to the foolish observer exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Tada paramaham jnanam muninamam malatmanam bhakti yoga vidhanathan katham pashyemahi striya. You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service unto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can we, women, know you perfectly? Krishna Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and the other coward man of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. Nama Pankajanabhaya, Nama Pankajamaline, Nama Pankajanetraya, Namaste, Pankajangraye. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraven with lotuses. Yada Rishikesha Kalena Devaki Kamsena Ruthati Chiram Sucharpita Vimochitaham Chasahatma Javibho Payaiva Adhina Muhurvipad. O Hrishikesha, Master of the senses and Lord of Lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious King Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers. Pishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanada Satsa Bhaya Vanavasa Kritshata Mrite Mrite Neka Maharathas Trato Daunyas Tratas Chasmahare Virakshita. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwadhama. Vipada Shantuta Shashvat Tatra Tatra Jagadguru Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyat Avanar Bhavadarshanam. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Janmayushvarya Shuddashipi Etam Manamadahapanman Naivarhatya Vitatam Vaitamakinchana Gocharam. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself, with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feelings. Nama kinchana vittaya nivritta gunavrittaye atmaramaya shantaya kaivalya pataye namaha. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the monists. Manyatvam kalamishna manadini dhanam vibhum samam charantam sarvatra utanam yamitha kali. My Lord, I consider your Lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and end, the all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. Naveda kaschid bhagavam chikirshitam tavehamanasya narinam vidambanam nayasya kaschid daitosti karhichid deshyascha yasmin vishamatirnrinam. O Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and are so misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor do you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial. Janma karma cha vishvatman ajasya karturatmana tiryan rishishu yadavshu tat atyanta vidambanam. Of course, it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work though you are inactive, and that you take birth though you are the vital force, and you yourself descend amongst animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. Gopyada de tvai kritagasi damatavat yatte dasashru kalenan janasam Braksham Bir apiyat bibhiti. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense. Your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes, and you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. Kichitahu aham jatam punyaslokasya kirtaye yado priyasya vanvaye malaya syeva chandam. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of wise kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu. One of your dearest devotees, you appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malay hill. Apare vasudevasya devakyam achito yagat ajastam asya kshemaya madhaya sa. cha shura visham. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are not unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of them. Bharavataranyanye bhuvo nava yodadho sidantya puri bharana jato yatma muvartita. Others say that the world, being overburdened like a boat at sea, is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karma bhi shavana smaranat hani karishyam itikeshanam. And yet others say here to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. Shivanti Gayanti Grinanta Bhikshnata Abhikshnasha Smaranti Nandanti Tabehitam Jana Ta Eva Pashyan Chachirena Tavakam Bhava Prabha Ramam Padambujam. O Krishna, those who continuously repeat your travel activities order in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Apyadyatastam sva pritehita brahmo jihasa si sweet surido nijuvina yesham nachanyan bhavata padambujat parayanam rajasu yojitat sam. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today, though we're completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us? Kevayam namarupabhyam yadubi saha pandava bhavat darshanam yarhi rishi kanam ivesitu. As the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities, along with the Pandavas and Yadus, will end at once. Nayam Shobi Syate Tatra Yadhedanim Gadadarat Padarangkitabati Swalakshana Vilakshitai. O Gadadhar Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful, but when you leave, it will no longer be so. Ime janapada sriti srita supako chadi virudha manadrina udanbanto yethante tava vrikshitai. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance, the trees are full of true fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the oceans full of wealth, and this is all due to your glancing over them. Atha Vishvesha Vishvatman Vishvamurte Svakeshame Sneha Pasham Imam Chinthi Dritham Pandishu Pandushu Krishneshu. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, the personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Vaiminanya Vishaya Matir Madhupata Sakrit Ratimudvahata Gange Bodham Tanmati. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flow to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn upon you without being diverted to anyone else. Shri Krishna Krishna Sakka Vrishni Risha Bhavanti Dhruk Rajanya Vamsa Dahanana Pavarga Virya Govinda Godvija Surarti Haravatara Yogeshvara Kila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. O Krishna, friend of Arjuna, chief amongst the descendants of Vrishni, you are the destroyer of those political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distresses of the cows, the brahmanas, and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God, and I offer you my respectful obeisances. So that was the final prayer of Queen Kunti. So we can see that these are extremely beautiful prayers, and they were very relevant to Srila Prabhupada because he was going through a lot of very difficult situations in his life, very challenging experiences, and that's why all these prayers were very close to his heart. And many of those prayers are quite famous. And we'll read at least one for today because we're unfortunately limited in terms of our capacity. Okay, seems like we've lost connection. Now we're back.
Yeah, we can hear you now, Maharaj.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll read one of those prayers, and that probably is one of the most shocking statements which appears in text 25. We can try to share the screen with you. Make sure you can also read this prayer if you wish. Yeah. So Vipada Santuta Shashvat Tatra Tatra Jagatguru Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyat Apunar Bhava Darshanam. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Srila Prabhupada's purport: generally the distressed, the needy, the intelligent and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. So we can understand Prabhupada quotes from Bhagavad Gita. Chatur vidha bhajantamam jana sukritino jana artho jigaso artati gyani chapardatshapa. That's chapter 7. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. So, yeah, I think we have our own experience when we go through some troubled times. It's much easier to remember Krishna and pray to Krishna rather than in the times when everything is kind of under control, so to say. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with a place where there is danger in every step. So if we don't want to be in the place where danger is at every step, and we are experiencing that regularly in this world, then the best alternative is to go back home, back to Godhead. This material world is certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization because that is the mission of human life. Again, Srila Prabhupada quotes in here one of the prayers by Lord Brahma, who says, Tatte nukampam susamikshamano Gunjana evatma kritam vipakam hritvagvapur pirvidadan namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. So he says that Tatte nukampam susamikshamano, if someone is capable of tolerating the troubles of this world, which are inevitable, and in the process, one still continues to worship the Supreme Lord, Hridvagva Purpir Vidadhan Namaste, engaging in the process one's heart, one's words, and one's body, or we can say body, mind, and soul, but here not the mind, but the heart is mentioned. And then Lord Brahma says, Mukti Pade Sadaya Bhag, that such a person becomes eligible candidate for returning back home, back to Godhead. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 processes, devotional services, is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vipada santuta shashvat tatra tatra jugat guru. Bhavato darshanam yatsya tapnar bhava darshanam. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. So, yeah, even though there are 4 types of people who are approaching Krishna, those who are suffering, needy, inquisitive, and those who look for knowledge, but actually everybody is suffering in the material world because material world is, as Bhagavad Gita explains, dukkhala shashvataha, that it is temporary place full of misery, and therefore if we're in trouble, we are suffering, but even if there are no troubles and everything is kind of going smoothly, it also creates misery because it gets boring, and boredom is also a big type of suffering. So suffering is something which is not avoidable in this world. But even though suffering is compulsory, but misery is optional. So we don't have to be miserable if we are Krishna conscious. Of course, it is very hard for us to even begin to understand how Queen Kunti can pray for troubles. Normally, we don't pray for trouble, but she's praying for trouble. She said, let those calamities happen again and again, so we could see you again and again. So, yeah, this is the attachment of great devotees like Kunti Maharani. She is so attached to Krishna that she would rather face troubles with Krishna rather than live peaceful life without Krishna. So that's the first and the most important point in here, that not that she just wants troubles for trouble's sake. No, she had experience that when they had troubles, Krishna was always helping them, and therefore Krishna was always with them. But now they are out of trouble because, as we know, this is the time when the battle of Kurukshetra is over, and so Pandavas won the whole world and they become kings. And so now everything is well and good, and Krishna is living. But this is what Kunti Devi doesn't want. She says, better we see the same situation, better we go back in those troubled times, because you were with us, rather than we are free from troubles and now you're leaving as well. And actually, yeah, when we are with Krishna, then it doesn't really matter whether we are in trouble or not, because Krishna is Ananda Maya Bhyasat. He is the source of all enjoyment. And so if someone is with Krishna, no matter what's happening externally, one will be happy. And when one is without Krishna, no matter what's happening externally, one will be miserable. So that's the idea behind. And another point is, yeah, I mean, it was not, it is not so difficult to understand that I think many of them have this experience of doing very intense devotional service and maybe dangerous devotional service, but you had to meditate on Krishna all the time, and it's such a rewarding experience that you would rather go back to this kind of situation than live so-called peaceful life. So, I mean, at least I definitely had this experience when we were trying to establish the movement in Russia, and yeah, we had to go through a lot of troubles. But because we were doing it for Krishna, and Krishna was really protecting and taking care, that's why all the devotees were enjoying, even though these were so-called troubled times, troublesome times. And another point in here, that how devotees can enjoy those situations. Actually, even in the material world, there are circumstances when people are enjoying troubles. For example, I don't know how many of you have been to like Universal Studio kind of attractions. I was pulled in by devotees that they wanted me to have experience of going through all these attractions, and it's very interesting that they kind of mimic very dangerous situations in there, normally connected to some movie plots. Yeah, this is how they make their business. First they produce movie, and then on the basis of those movies they make some attractions, entertainment for people. And it's like the situation when you somewhere in the dark, and then you experience some free fall, and there is a lot of screaming and shouting, and something's blowing up, and you might be in the kind of situation. You might be in this situation where there is a kind of simulated earthquake or fire or flood, whatever it is, but then you escape from that danger. And people paying good money, a lot of money to experience those things. And they really enjoy it. And so we can ask, how come that people enjoy fire, earthquake, flood, or attack by some monsters, or free fall, all these dangerous situations? Well, they know that situation is totally under control. And that's why they trust and they enjoy the experience. They know that nothing will ever happen to them. And so we can understand that exactly the same situation is the exactly same kind of mentality is there for devotees who are not identifying themselves with the material body, because nothing can ever happen to the soul, right? All the troubles there, they can only affect the material body. And so if devotee is not identifying with the body, then he is unaffected by all these troubles. And especially this is an extra opportunity to surrender unto Krishna, which devotee enjoys. And so this is another important reason why devotees like Kunti Devi are praying for troubles, asking for troubles. I mean, this is very rare, right? Someone's asking for troubles, but she does. All right. So, we have any questions on this subject?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I think it's quite difficult to get into the mindset of I don't know. I guess like praying for difficulties so that we can actually really think of Krishna. Like, how do you actually really kind of like get in that type of mood?
Yeah. Of course, we cannot imitate this level. Thank you, Mahaprabhu. Very good question. We cannot imitate this level, asking for trouble, but firstly, we should really be ready to have troubles with Krishna rather than no troubles and no Krishna. That this choice we need to make, that if we are under risk of losing Krishna, we better be, agree to have troubles and agree to have Krishna. But in terms of asking for troubles specifically, we don't need to do that in a sense, because material world means padam padam yadi padam, that there are troubles at every step anyway. But the point is that when troubles do happen to us, we should be seeing those troubles through this lens of Krishna's mercy. that troubles are always there to help us be with Krishna, to help us become Krishna conscious, help us remember Krishna. And so instead of being depressed or anxious when there are troubles, we can use that opportunity to focus on Krishna and feel grateful to Krishna for helping us to become Krishna conscious. So that is a very practical application. We're not waiting for troubles, but if troubles do come, we use those troubles to surrender unto Krishna more, rather than protest or lament about the influence of material energy. Yes? Is that?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. That makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Questions on troubles?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, my question is like, if someone is suffering like because of his body, like because of some disease, how one can focus his mind on Krishna, and how one can focus his mind on how one can divert his mind from the problems what he's facing, and then focus his mind on Krishna.
Okay. How to be focused on Krishna rather than on the misery? Well, I recommend the first step is to remember that Krishna is our best well-wishing friend, as the last verse of the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita says, Suhridam Sarabhutanam. He is our closest friend. And so whatever he arranges, he's arranging for our benefit. And if we think like this, we might, our mind might be unwilling to even think like this. Our mind might be saying, no, what Krishna has nothing to do with Krishna. It's all Maya, so much suffering. But again, Daivisha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya, that even Maya is under Krishna's control. And so there is nothing which happens without Krishna's will. And once we realize, okay, Krishna is my best friend, and whatever is happening for my benefit. So let me, instead of thinking of trouble, think of how Krishna wants me to benefit from this situation right now. And if we sincerely meditate like this, Krishna will give us a lot of realizations. And normally, yeah, it's very interesting discussing with devotees who went through different troubles, because they come with very deep realizations. All right, Vijay?
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Good. I'm glad that we had a couple of questions on the topic, which is wonderful. So, more questions? If there are no more questions, we can stop for tonight, because we still have more classes. And our next class is
On Monday, Maharaj.
Monday. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay. So tomorrow is Canterbury. And then crawling. All right. So yeah, we'll see you again on Monday. Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
all.
Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hey, hey, bro.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.